Okay, I am Linda Deer, and this character over here,
Guess who I am?
God,
I'm the chief production manager here behind the scenes.
all right, we give ourselves those titles, you guys. Okay, okay. So, like always, we are so happy to be here with you guys on Tuesdays, every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. All right. In Two Worlds with Linda Deer and Ray Holly. Welcome to episode number 266 of Linda's Weekly Guided Insights, a weekly gift of guidance from my spirit guides on navigating the uncertain world that you are now living in. Published every Tuesday since 2014. Feels like yesterday. Tonight, the guides will be talking about you can't contribute beyond yourself until you're willing to let go. All right, get my page out here. The takeaway from this week's episode is you will have an understanding of what is necessary before you can let go. This will give you a new sense of freedom. With this new sense of freedom, we want you to apply it to all your decision making. You can't contribute beyond yourself when all you're consumed with is yourself. So, what are you willing to let go of in order to bring your stress down? Are you willing to let go of all the things that burden you? Do you even know where to start? The first thing you must do is stop chasing things to fill the void. In fact, you must go into this void to discover what is missing. I'm only reading excerpts out of Linda's weekly guided insights, so be sure to sign up for them. In the end, you want to say, I followed my heart by doing my part to contribute to others in the world because I was able to control my ego. How about that one? All right. Okay, Ray. So who do we have with us tonight?
I don't see.
It's sometimes hard to see all you guys on the
I see
panel.
there's 5 or 6 of them, but I can't see.
Okay.
One of them's Kathy.
Great, Kathy. We're so happy to have you. I'm going to turn the fan on. Ray, would you go ahead and read the comment we got today?
We had 2 comments, right?
Well, I answered the comment.
Oh, okay.
So
So
we had one.
that's 2. All right. We had 1 comment and 1 answer.
One answer to the comment.
Comment came from Leanna Winslow, and she sent it at 6:39 a.m. Boy, she was up early to get that.
She
Linda's
was.
Weekly Guided Insight, wasn't she?
She was, Ray. Yes.
Leanna says, I've been wanting to let go of this burden, debt, which is debt, for a long time. My question is how to get rid of it when you're so far down the hole and the things that you consumed are not valuable enough to pay off the debt. Like if you sold them.
They're not worth anything anymore.
Right.
You couldn't sell them if you wanted to.
Yeah. I'm fortunate that I do love my career, but I know that there is more ways to contribute spiritually if I didn't have the burden of the debt.
Yeah.
Go
ahead, Ray.
To which Linda responded, join us tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific time on my Facebook page or my YouTube channel. Click the icons below, and when we will have the guides answer your concern. If you cannot join us live, just watch the video replay above by tomorrow after we replace the trailer with tonight's video.
So what we're going to do, we're going to have the guides, just like I promised you. Leanna, right?
Leanna.
About your situation. Okay. Your situation in particular, Leanna. Okay. Because your guides know you better than anybody. And when we bring them through, they're speaking directly to you. Okay. So here's their insight about your current situation. And here they go.
Leanna, your situation is not so different than many others. The problem is people are never satisfied. Most families and individuals spend 150% of their money each year. If they make $100,000, they live like they make 150. This mentality is easy to fall into. You just see something you want, and then you justify it in your mind, usually emotionally, and buy it on credit. This pattern repeats over and over until you are consumed with debt. It's not that you don't make enough money to pay it off, it's your inability to control your emotional purchases. As soon as you buy just about anything, it starts to devalue. It's obvious in things like a new car or clothes or any type of adult toys, especially a boat. Once you see something you like, ask yourself, how long will you like it? Will it fulfill a need or just become an ornament? This way, it will help you to stop making unnecessary purchases. Another way would be to wait 30 days, 1 month before you buy something you want. In 30 days, you may decide you don't need it. That will help the debt from piling up. Another way is to treat yourself and have a garage sale. You'd be surprised how much you can sell at a garage sale and apply the money to paying down debt. The best thing to do is to stop believing that things will make you happy. If you are feeling like you'll never get out of debt, look at all the things you bought that still have value. Did you buy a car that was too expensive? How much did you pay for it? Look at the things, the major purchases you made, and see which ones still have value and sell them. Take the money you get and pay down your debt. If you have a car you can sell for a lot of money, sell it and buy a $5,000 used car. It's usually the impulse buys on large items like cars or appliances or furniture you don't need that keep you in this crippling debt. It's a challenge sometimes to look at what you want and why you want it instead of being grateful for what you already have.
That'll keep you from going down that road again. Gratitude. Yeah. And, as we all get to the point where we need to let go of the stuff that burdens us, that keeps us in the physical world and having to work and pay the debt and have, and support the house the stuff and take care of the stuff and get insurance on it and fix it. And I mean, it just never ends. No matter how much you think it's going to end, it doesn't stop.
No, I mean, especially on a big purchase like a house or a car.
So my point was going to be is you can't contribute beyond yourself. There is no beyond yourself when this has a hold of you. You can't. There's no extra room in your life. Okay, so that's what's going on with most people in most situations. Totally fixable. Totally. Ray and I fixed it in our life.
Took us a while.
It took us a while to get out from underneath it. I call it, we had to turn our barge around. I mean, we had a lot of stuff.
We were swimming, pushing the barge.
we were doing a course adjustment. We were, that's really what we were doing. It turned out to be a whole new direction. Just as you think you're making an adjustment here and you get rid of a few things and you bring down the debt and you don't buy back into it and you feel like it's a course correction, just a course correction, and then you get rid of something else and then you move somewhere and I mean, you keep releasing all the things that keep you burdened. Pretty soon, it's not a course correction anymore. It's a new direction.
Yeah. Some people go the wrong direction though. They keep buying stuff and they buy a bigger place to store all the new stuff.
That's not the right direction.
That's not the right direction to go.
Whoops.
I mean, look at people. I don't know if you have anybody in your family who's a hoarder, or maybe you're a hoarder.
No, she's not.
Well, I mean, you're talking to a guy who used to have 5,000 record albums.
I think that's on the hoarder list.
That's borderline.
But Ray justified it. You know how he did it? And honestly, those albums now, if you were to sell them, that you had a collection that's worth about what now?
$250,000 to $300,000.
And vinyl's back.
Right.
So it would have, but how could you know that? Yeah.
I mean, I could barely move them. I mean, vinyl is so heavy, you can only put about 100 of them in a box before you can't pick it up.
It's crazy.
I know. So anyhow, this reminds me of hoarding. I mean, there's shows on TV of people that hoard. That's the ultimate afraid to let go.
Yeah, and the older people get, the more they want to hang on to their past. Did you write something about that there, Ray?
I made some notes.
Yeah.
What are you hoarding? Take a look at your life and what are you hoarding? People are afraid, like you said, that they'll forget about something. They'll forget about an experience they had. They're attached to a person who died or is not around anymore, a thing, an experience, or some kind of a high. They become one of those people in the Star Wars with the Klingons. They're Klingons. They cling on to the stuff, and they're not living in the present. They're living in the
That's
past.
what happens. As soon as you do something, you guys, you do something, you experience something, you buy something, it's history the minute you do it. The minute you get an education, it's obsolete. Look at how fast the world is moving. It's obsolete. So while you think you got something, you invested in something, you spent all that money and time on something, on yourself, okay, to better yourself, to feel better about yourself, especially when you have a job you don't like. That's when people tend to really go all in because they're looking to fill a void, a void. And the guides talked about this, the void. I need to bring that back up again for a minute. In the end, okay, really. Okay, hold on a minute. Give me a second here. Okay, so what are you willing to let go of in order to bring your stress level down? Are you willing to let go of all the things that burden you, like what Ray is talking about, on all these different levels? And do you even know where to start? That's the big thing. Where do you start? That's where the guides talked to Leanna tonight about where to start. You all have a place to start. Okay. And the first thing you must do is stop chasing things to fill the void. In fact, you must go into this void to discover what's missing, to discover what's missing here. And then you won't be inclined to go out there and dive back into all these external satisfactions, these momentary, uh, wants.
Yeah, it's an emotional or a sentimental attachment.
Right.
It's not rational at all to things or ideas or people. Um, Many times, the hoarders, it's created by a traumatic event. Somebody died, somebody's not around with them anymore, and they cling on to their memory by hoarding their stuff, hoarding all the thousands of pictures that they took, together, and that are in boxes in the garage that you're never going to look at again. But what people don't realize is that the memories are not in the things. The memories are in your heart and in your brain, in your mind.
And what's going to happen current day where we're moving in the world, where the world is moving us? Really, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. You guys don't need to be burdened down with these things. What the world needs now is they need you to contribute beyond yourself. The world needs your experience. It needs your help. You need to help other people who need to move through things. Okay. You've never been needed more spiritually. Okay. This is about helping others. This is about going beyond yourself. Once you get your ego under control, the ego. So the ego, what's it been doing all this time? It's been trying to protect you. It's been really working hard. It's working harder than it wants to. It's waiting for you to get this right. Okay. So you can live the life you intended, your purpose here. You can't take this stuff with you, you guys. Okay. You take how you've become more from this one life experience with you and those that you helped along the way. That's what you take with you. That's why you feel the urge. You feel the urge to contribute beyond yourself. But then you look at your life and you go, how the heck am I going to do this? I'm loaded down. God, I can't pay my bills. Right?
Yeah, it's like when you look at a car. Let's say you want to buy a new car, and you go out car shopping, and you look at the sticker, and you go, "Oh my gosh, that's too expensive." No, it's not too expensive. You can't afford it.
Right. You're overextending yourself.
Right.
Right.
And people, they attach the emotion to the wrong thing. Let's say you go on a vacation with a friend or a family, whatever, and you go to a beautiful national park and there's a waterfall, and everybody's standing there just going, "Wow, what a great place! What a picture perfect place!" And then everybody takes pictures, okay, with their phone. And before phones, you had to actually get your film developed. And that's where all this hoarding came in. Now, you can get thousands of pictures now on a little card. But before, everybody
You had to
saved
have boxes for them.
boxes and boxes and boxes for them. And what people don't realize is that the energy of that experience is inside you.
Right.
And if you went out in the garage or under the bed or in the closet and got the box down and you looked at that picture, it wouldn't feel anything like it was when you were there.
You can't take it with you.
Right.
Okay. And what you do take with you is your experiences. It comes back to that. Now, at the end of this insight, I only read excerpts from these insights. So be sure to go to lindadeer.com and sign up for Linda's weekly guided insights. The conversation with yourself will expose your ego first. Once you see how your ego has dominated your decisions, you are halfway there. Your ego is not bad. It's just doing its job by attempting to rescue you from your fears. Fears of not having enough, fears of lack, fears of not being good enough. All the things that you fear, all right? Fear that you won't have enough, fear that you're not good enough, fear of being alone. A lot of people feel that now since this last year. If these fears do not exist, your ego wouldn't have to work so hard. Okay, are you seeing it? Do you really need all that protection? Do you really need all that stuff to feel good about yourself? Think about this. This is what it's like when you feel disconnected from the source. So have that overdue conversation with yourself. Dedicate 15 minutes a day to write in your journal about what you need to understand and overcome. This is how you can do it. So you have the capacity to contribute beyond yourself. Your ego will thank you for doing this. If you think about it, it gets to be crazy funny. All right. So this is the companion journal to Guided. This is called My Guided Journey. It's part 2, and at the end is 20 pages for part 3. Part 3 is actually its own book of just part 3, but this gives you both parts to get started. And what this will do, I'm going to be doing training. I'm going to announce it next month. I'm really working on getting it out there, on how to work through this and how to achieve this. Okay. I have training on my website. You go to the top, the nav bars, and click on training. You'll see what it is that I do. All right. Little video trailers on it and stuff like that. But this is training I'm talking about is a class, a pre-recorded class that I'm building that you can walk through and teach yourself. And then if you need that one with me, you can go to my website, click on training, and sign up. It's more expensive, but you can get started with this training I'm going to do in a class. All right. And it's going to teach you how to love yourself. It's going to teach you how to appreciate yourself. It's going to teach you how to remember who you are.
You mentioned egos. Now, this is interesting. I saw an article that talked about people have trouble letting go, usually over something they can't control in the first place. Many times, they've expressed this like in a job that they used to have. Okay. They used to have this great job when they were in their 30s.
Okay. Memory lane.
Yeah. What do they call it? The good old days syndrome.
The glue that keeps your old stories going.
Right. It keeps you stuck. The glue
it does.
The stories from your past are the glue that keeps your life stuck now. When I was assistant vice president of blah, 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 that always comes up regardless of the job they have now, because they felt in control then. They felt important. Their ego was in it. And now, I'm a dog walker.
Honestly, now that job probably doesn't even exist.
Right.
It's obsolete. So when people hear somebody talk like that, that's retired and older, they look at them and go, oh my God, I hope Uncle Fred doesn't tell that story again. Everyone's tormented by his story, dragging his past along with him. And really, Uncle Fred, he's got no time to contribute beyond himself. He can't even imagine doing that.
That
But
was the
that's,
last time he contributed. That's what he felt like.
I know, that's exactly right. This is about your purpose, you guys. When you create an environment, a life where you can have the ability to contribute beyond yourself, that means you would do it for free, even if you didn't get paid for it. You do it anyway because it comes from you. It's critical to your to giving back. This is what it's like. Once you hit your 50s, 60s, you start moving into that, you start feeling this urge to contribute beyond yourself. And if you've got that load from your past, offload it. I don't know what it's going to take. If you're going to have to I'm going to just speak out loud about this. If you have so much stuff and it's no longer valuable, a lot of people have stuff like that. They're in a situation where their stuff is no longer valuable. Then cut your losses. Face the music. You may have to BK it, go bankrupt. You may have to. And I want you guys to know that's nothing to be ashamed of. That's not unusual. You're out from underneath that rock and you can start your life again. And you know what? It's one of the best things for the individual that's left.
Right.
Because there's no penalty. Your credit's messed up for a while. Position yourself so that once you come through that situation, you're not tormented by being penalized. Yeah. That's all you do. You think it through. You don't panic. You know how the guys always say, don't panic. Don't take it personally. So many people are stuck in a situation like what I'm talking about. So many people. And you guys, you're not going to be able to hold it up. No, you're not. Your jobs are obsolete in most cases. They're being replaced by robotics, by AI. It's happening fast. So don't try to chase it and fix it. If you're already panting to keep up, you're behind the 8 ball. Face the music and deal with it.
I remember in a former life before I met you, I remember it like it was yesterday. I had 16 credit cards and
wow,
fabulously
high flyer over here.
Fabulously in a debt hole. Yeah. Okay. And I studied a course on it and how you get out of that debt. I forget, I was like, I don't know, $35,000, $40,000, $50,000 in debt. And I remember the day that I sat at my desk and pulled the wastebasket over and I cut up every one of those cards except 2. Kept one for personal and one for business. Cut them all up. And you know what happens when you do that? You stop spending money and the bills stop coming and you can pay them off.
You can start to whittle it down.
Right.
That's when Ray was 30 years younger and he had enough energy left in him to pay those debts down. And the job was still there.
Right.
Okay. A lot of people's jobs aren't there. And if you do have a job, it's not cutting it. Okay. So if you're having a problem with that, I can only tell you, you guys, don't hurt yourself. Don't torment yourself. Don't punish yourself. If that's what's happening to you, what you need to do is get real with yourself. You need to journal what the truth is. Don't let anyone see this. You need to, in part 3, start journaling about what it is that's holding you up, that's got a stranglehold on you, how it feels, not the emotion, but just how it feels. How does this feel? And then from when you answer that, when you get into the details of how it feels, then you're going to realize something. That's the 3rd question. What do you realize from what you wrote down and how it feels? And the next, it's a natural response. You're going to know exactly what you realize. And then the 4th question, the 4th and final question in each one of these journal entries is, what action are you going to take? Now that you realize what you realize, until you realize what it was that you wrote down and the details of how it made you feel. will you have a realization to take the action? You have to convince yourself, not fool yourself, not make stuff up, but tell the truth. So that when you do deal with it, you dealt with it in a sober, honest way. So that one, you deal with it, you take an action. And two, like Ray said, you don't repeat the problem.
Yeah.
It's
And that's
simple.
hard to do because sometimes, the way it is now, you declare bankruptcy, the last resort that the individual has to start over again. And within a month, what are they sending you?
Credit cards
Credit cards.
to get you back in trouble again.
Right.
Yeah.
You just
It's
declared
ridiculous.
bankruptcy a month ago, and now you're getting credit cards offers in the mail every day.
The penalty is none. You don't have a penalty. Okay. They make it up. Nowadays, the vendors, the credit card companies, or whoever's trying to sell you something are so aggressive, they'll look past your credit problem.
Oh yeah.
And that's dangerous. You don't want to get back in trouble again. Here's the beauty of this. When you do the journal entries in part 3, you find out who you are. So that part of you that used to be crippled, dragging a leg, unsure of yourself, doubted yourself, living in fear, is dealt with. You finally healed it. Once you heal that inadequacy, that lack, you have no urge to go back out and repeat it. You can't fix it until you heal it. That's why this journal is so important. But don't bother with this journal until you've read or listened to Guided. This is how I did it. Okay. And then this is how you do it. Okay. That's how this works. You guys can get out from underneath this for any of you that are going through this. And I know a lot of people going through it, but are having problems dealing with it, facing it, getting real with it, writing it down, spending that 15 minutes a day to flush it out. So you're clear about what you need to do going forward. You're not bumping along and scared and living in fear and worried about what someone's going to think of you, or you might have to file bankruptcy. And oh my God, none of that. That's all a bunch of malarkey. That is not the real world. That's what the world has put on you to make you feel guilty. That's not the truth. When you start writing in the journal and you start telling yourself the absolute truth about what you did and how it makes you feel, and you have that realization, you are empowered to take an action. You need no permission from anyone else. You need to make no apologies, and you move boldly. And I said boldly. You move boldly into dealing with it. All of a sudden, at one point, within 6 months, within a year, you have your life back. And now you can breathe again. When you can breathe again, you can contribute beyond yourself. And you feel great about yourself. Okay, that's what this is all about, you guys. Okay, you can't contribute beyond yourself until you're willing to let go.
You gotta let go of the stuff.
And the mindset that got you into it.
It's
the mindset.
That's the biggest problem.
That's how it's the mindset. When you take this journey, it's the mindset that you get right. So you never fall back into it, and you never lack again, and you never doubt yourself again, and don't fall back into that fear. Okay, let me move on with this. Okay, and I know so many of you want to contribute beyond yourself, and you've just been bumping into a wall. There's a way out. Okay, so we're going to have our closing message with the guides on tonight's insight. But before I do that, I've got a few announcements. Join us next Tuesday, January 26th, for episode number 267 of Linda's Weekly Guided Insights with me, Ray, and my spirit guides at 6 p.m. Pacific time on my Facebook page, Facebook timeline, and my YouTube channel. Use the search term Linda Deer. In Linda's Weekly Guided Insights, my spirit guides will be talking about chaos and your purpose here. You don't want to miss that, okay? In other words, contributing beyond yourself, the chaos and your purpose here, that's where you can contribute beyond yourself. But lighten the load from tonight's session. Here's what this will do for you. You will see how the chaos is your wake-up call. Yes. Chaos is wherever you look. It's in the geopolitical arena around the world. It's in your own country, your own state, your job, your family and friends, and in the streets of your city. Ain't that the truth? You see or read about the chaos going on everywhere now. It's many times manufactured or embellished to cause a reaction in you. Watch out for being set up for this stuff. These reactions can be fear, doubt, or thinking about how the chaos is causing challenges in your life that force you to think about how you're going to react. While you may not want to face these challenges, you will be forced to face them. That's the world we're in now. So you don't need all this load on you, all this old lifestyle that you used to support. You won't be able to do it anymore, you guys. You need to offload it. This Thursday, January 21st at 6 p.m. Pacific time, join us on our Facebook private group, Ask the Universal Channel. The teachers of Ask the Universal Channel will be performing the following. Joy's guides will talk about divine timing. Veronica's guides will talk about how being casual in your perspective helps with unity and awareness. I think that's an interesting one. Kathy's guides will be talking about how keeping your vibration high, with love being the highest vibration of all. Boy, that is the truth. When you're burdened down with debt and you're chasing the next day just to pant and get through the next day because you've got obligations to pay, what Kathy talks about here, keeping your vibration high, with love being the highest vibration of all, you don't even have time for it. You miss your life. Okay, so don't miss this on Thursday. This event will be hosted by Linda Deer and Ray Hawley. And Saturday, January 23rd at 1 p.m. Pacific time, I will be reading from the 137 tips, learnings, lessons, and awarenesses sprinkled throughout Guided. On my Facebook page, Facebook timeline, and YouTube channel, you once again use the search term Linda Deer. This reading will awaken you to the guidance that's always available. And if my work changes your life in any way, share what we do with your like-minded friends. And the guides are going to go ahead and close the session tonight about you can't contribute beyond yourself until you're willing to let go. And here they go.
You must look at letting go as a superpower.
Yes.
And not an impediment in your life.
Right.
Once you let go, you feel the freedom it allows into your life. Letting go is where your intuition and creativity begins to flourish without restraint.
You guys, that's when you come fully alive. That's the reason you came here. If you think back to when you were a little kid, you didn't have any of these lacks or anything like that. You just went from one journey. Your journey just took you from one moment to another. You lived in the moment. and you experienced what the guides just talked about. Freedom. That's the ultimate freedom. Okay. We will see you guys Thursday, Saturday, and next Tuesday. We are busy over here.
We are.
We are. All right. We'll see you. We'll see you this week. We'll see you next week. All right. Good night.
Good night, everybody.